Hello. So it is 2:45 and the Board of County Commissioners is reconvening from our recess. Again, let the record reflect that we have all three commissioners present. And Ms. Wallace, you're in lead.
Thank you, commissioners. Again, coming back from the break, slightly different audience, so I'm going to do just quick housekeeping, and then I'm going to turn it over to our Parks Director, Doug Chase. So just a quick reminder that these recordings, this session is being recorded. We will be posting it on the internet for everybody. And just to be very respectful of the presenters' time and to provide them equal opportunity with you, we do have our coordinator, Tessa, who will be managing the cue cards. With green being flashed when there's 5 minutes left. And our Parks Director has asked us to cue him up a little bit when he's gone 30 minutes into his presentation to ensure that there is enough time for question and answer and discussion. So we'll do that, but then there's a yellow card that says we're down to a minute, time for wrap up, and then red means that's the end of the time. We will also be keeping track if there are topics that you'd like to have come back to at another time so that we keep these discussions focused on the 2018 decisions that you have in front of you. So with that, you see his staff is in the front row, and there is coffee and water for the presenting staff and a little snacks to keep everybody's energy levels up. So we're going to finish this afternoon with these last two presentations. So for now, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Chase.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Doug Chase, Spokane County Parks. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. With this being our first run at the format, it may be that I have a few extra slides, so I will be trying to go through a couple of those fairly quick, and you'll see that there's a little repetition. So if I pass by something really fast, chances are we have another slide that will focus on that a little bit more. And with that, I want to thank my staff for being here for questions. I will be trying to get through the presentation side in 30 minutes or less for plenty of time for questions. And want to thank our Park Advisory Committee Chair, Jim Harper, for joining us as well today. So with that, I will get going. Okay, following the format, our mission is to provide and enhance our general quality of life. We are the quality of life department. It's what we do, and we do the best at this that we can, given available resources. Here. From a service standpoint, organizationally, we have 5 primary services that we provide: aquatics, golf, conservation futures, parks, and our recreation programming. The slide presentation will focus on those 2 departments of the 5 that depend heavily on the general fund. So a lot of folks don't realize of those 5 service areas, only 2 of them are supported through the general fund. The other 3 are supported through enterprise or special revenue funds. And so we're going to talk primarily about the 2. And here's a little video both on parks and aquatics. So this will be first for parks.
Since the 1950s, Spokane County Parks has been offering parks and trails and pools to Spokane County residents throughout the county.
Well, we like coming to Pine River Park because just the natural beauty that's so close to home. Right down the road, we can tube down the river, we can hang out in the trees, we can picnic. There's everything that we want right here in our neighborhood.
Spokane County offers a wide variety of parks and amenities, including Camp Carroll Lodge, which is available for rent for weddings and family reunions. We have picnic shelters also available for those purposes. We have playgrounds and swimming beaches, bike trails, pretty much everything you can think of when you think of parks in Spokane. Spokane County offers Bear Lake Regional Park, Liberty Lake Regional Park, Fish Lake Regional Park. All three of those parks are amazing places to take families for swimming in the summer when it's hot, or having a family picnic or family reunion. And the fishing is excellent at all three of those parks.
Bear Lake is unique in that you can bring your dog, you can swim, you can fish, you can hike. Of course, picnicking. In my particular case, I bring the dog to swimmer. You see people on paddle boards, you see them in kayaks, you see them in canoes. You get to see osprey, you get to see bald eagles, and a whole assortment of wildlife here.
No matter where you are in Spokane County, there's usually a Spokane County Park nearby to serve your needs. If you want to find out more about Spokane County Parks, you can visit our website at spokanecounty.org/parks.
Spokane County owns and operates 2 aquatics facilities. There's the Northside Family Aquatics Facility and the Southside Family Aquatics Facility. Both aquatics facilities are open from mid-June to mid-August. Both of our aquatics facilities are family friendly. We provide a safe, clean, fun environment for people of all ages and family sizes. Here at the Southside Family Aquatics Facility, you'll find a zero-depth entry with a kiddie play structure. There's a lazy river with tubes that you could lounge around in and float. There's also a large water slide that you can go down either with or without an inner tube into a plunge pool and then continue your swimming. At the Northside Aquatics Facility, that has a zero-depth entry as well with a bucket area. There's a general shallow end area that leads into a deep end. The deep end at Northside gets up to 12 feet deep with a diving board and a drop slide. We also offer swim lessons at both facilities that run either in the morning before open swim or in the evening after open swim.
My kids really enjoy water sports and being in the water, so we've always felt it was important for them to be water safe. The facility is clean, it's always very well supervised. I like their services. The kids enjoy getting the snacks from the snack bar during open swim time. And when they were really little, the zero entry part of the pool and the fountains and stuff was really fun for them.
At both aquatics facilities, we also offer a summer movie series. On select Saturday evenings each season, we will have a swim in the evening that's from 6 p.m. until dusk. Then after that, we'll follow that by a free movie in the park.
Swim to movies has been great for us. It's just something casual and cheap to do on a weekend, and it's always great because we get to go swimming and then afterwards watch a movie among the starlight and everything.
Come on down to our aquatics facilities and have fun because we are safe, clean, and family friendly.
Hello and welcome to Spokane County Spotlight.
Little cameo by
Get rid of that loser.
Okay, maybe we'll. Did we get that? We're good? Maybe? Okay. Try to resume here. Whew, okay. Here is our budget office provided spreadsheet that shows history of revenues and expenditures for the general fund department.
So, hang on, now we're good?
Got the green light?
Okay, now you got the
Okay,
green
that
light.
little
Go
bonus
ahead.
footage, a little extra.
All right, is your mic turned on? Okay,
Yes, this is green. Okay, very, very good, very good. Okay, again, looking at the 5 different service areas within the department, you can see we've pulled out aquatics and parks, and on the revenue side, they represent 8% of our revenues, and on the expense side, they represent about 22% of our departmental expenditures when combining the 5 services. So drilling down a little bit closer, again, on the general fund departments, parks and aquatics, as they relate to the budget exercise and potential reductions, you can see that our primary revenue source is the general fund at about 73% of our expenses, and we have nice detail on the remaining sources with user fees, activity fees, concessions, special events, facility use, rental, a little bit of car rental tax, and 0% under miscellaneous. I think we might have a small sponsorship or 2 in there that all work to help us out. And again, on the expense side, aquatics represent 28% of those total expenses, with parks at 72. And so what do we do with those funds? What is it that, how is it that we utilize those, the support from the general fund and those other revenues? We work hard to maintain a park system. In total, we mentioned it's about 14,000 acres. That portion that's cared for through help from the general fund is just under 13,000 acres. So that represents a lot of restrooms, garbage cans, a lot of maintenance and upkeep throughout the system. And what's very interesting with that amount of acreage and the facilities that we have at over 100 buildings, we have roads, we have private public water systems, we have playgrounds, we even have sewer lift stations. So in many ways, we're almost like a small municipality, certainly in terms of the credentials of the operations crew that work to maintain these. And they're very, very talented individuals. We also have a rather sizable fleet of motor vehicles and motorized equipment. And this is a fleet we are proud of. I think in the budget detail, we kind of provide an idea of categories, the age of these equipments. Our heavy equipment, I think, its average age is about 28 years old. Motor vehicles were about 23 years old. So we're wonders. The mechanic is a whiz in keeping everything running with help from many others. And then on the admin side, we are fortunate to do a lot of in-house planning, design, write, and manage grants. We've been fortunate to be successful with grants. We have a lot of services that we're able to provide through various cooperative agreements, whether that be with nonprofits or other agencies. A lot of customer service, special accommodations, and volunteers and so forth. And on the aquatic side, we were very pleased to offer lessons to nearly 1,600 youth this last season, serving over 51,000 visitors. We employ generally local. I think most all of our extra help seasonal staff, about 100 strong, are local youth and young adults often. Okay, in terms of our reductions, we're looking at about $270,000 for 2018 versus 2017. 126,000 of that represents the assigned reduction, and I'll talk more about the 144,000 related to 2 employees. In terms of the overall strategy, my approach was to try and minimize impacts to maintenance and operations of our facilities in the field. And I'll talk a little bit more about that for those areas on the assigned budget side. So I note the two full-time employees, because these positions were approved through last year's budget process. We were able to receive 2 operations employees. They were funded for a 1-year period. and with strong hopes that those would continue beyond if funding allowed. And so those have been identified or not carried forward, given the scenario that we're in. And so they're what I would look at as part of our imposed budget reduction, separate from the assigned. So in terms of service impact, there are very real impacts. And again, these positions last year, we were able to demonstrate how we've expanded our park operations, our park lands, open space, developed space by 30% over the last 8 years. And yet, if we were to go back 8 years ago, we actually had 25% more staff there to care for the system at that time. So we've been doing quite a bit, and we were very appreciative to be able to catch up a little bit with some of those operations positions that we've been without, I want to say since about 2008, 2009, with the downturn of the economy. So in terms, again, of employees, full-time employees, operations per acre maintained, it's always nice to have kind of a sense of how others in the area who have similar challenges, what their staffing levels are at. So to provide somewhat of an idea, currently with those two positions in 17, we have the equivalent of one full-time operations employee, skilled employee, for every 68 acres of developed parkland that we care for. Those numbers vary a little bit with our undeveloped and undeveloped conservation futures, as you can see, and the city of Spokane is a comparison for developed acres. While they have certainly a larger number of developed, in terms of number of employees, they have one full-time for every 37 acres of developed park. So looking ahead, again, from a service standpoint, if those positions continue to be eliminated next year, we will be down to one full-time employee for every 96 acres of developed parkland that we'll be trying to care for. The other component when it comes to parks and our park season, we used to just have our park season, and that would be from mid-April through mid-October every year. Back about 2009, 2010, with the downturn of the economy, we developed kind of a park service season within the season. So the parks are still accessible every mid-April through mid-October. But as far as active restrooms being opened, garbage cans being serviced and cleaned, we had to reduce that window down in order to work within the available resources. Another thing that we've done is certainly and continue to this day, the majority of our parks, the irrigation discontinues when September rolls around. And if Mother Nature cooperates, that works out really well. Sometimes we might receive a few calls, but that's just one way that we stretch our dollars with utilities. So this year we were very excited with the return of those two positions. We were able to take our park service season from a 14-week season back up to 22 weeks. Again, as a comparison, we were at 26 weeks for many years. The city of Spokane Valley continues to be at 26 weeks. And we share perhaps a little more in common with the city of Spokane, where you can see as you look at that 20-year window, they too have had some challenges with the ability to provide that active service season with the restrooms open, the garbage cans, and just the last few years, they were able to increase their season up to 21 weeks. Again, with those two positions, we've been able to utilize them to really stretch our dollars. We've been fortunate in some cases to receive small dollar grant amounts, and that's where that in-house expertise really comes in handy. Combined with our equipment and skills, we've been able to do a lot of projects in-house that otherwise we simply wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So a great example is ADA improvements, sidewalks. That's a project from this year. I believe we had some funds from the Spokane Park Foundation. The Split Creek Bridge replacement, again, just finished up there. You can see on the left, and just a couple years back, the rental cabin. So we estimate there's at least 30% savings by being able to do these in-house. Without these positions, it's very unlikely that we would be able to do those types of projects. So looking at the level of service guide on the right, and one of the challenges that we've run into when we have gone to that shorter season is unfortunately our visitors use the outside of the restrooms instead of the inside. And this has unfortunately continued to happen quite frequently. That's probably the number one concern that we receive is open the bathrooms. And it's also one of the most costly from an expense standpoint to provide folks. And during the peak season, we are there daily. The challenge with maintaining a restroom is it can be sparkling clean, and 10 minutes later, all of that work can be undone. Frequency, we're looking at lower frequency of visits and ability, and again, shortening that service season back down. Here's some other photos from we like to think of that video and what we see in our park system, but the crew really work hard so that that's what folks see. And these are examples of some of the routine challenges and again, impacts that we experienced last time with a reduced number of individuals out in the field to care for the park. So again, we're doing the best we can with what we have. Okay, working down to the next item, we've identified cost savings in operations through our extra help budget. One of the reasons I've paired that with utilities is we're very pleased to have our new 10-acre addition to Prairie View Park that'll be coming online in the spring. Unfortunately, that will come with an estimated $12,339 in water. So of that 17,000, 12,000 of that is represented from our new park. The other 5,000 increases just related to programmed fee increases from our various utility providers throughout the park season. So with that, we upped the reduction in operations extra help in order to meet that target. So as I think I mentioned earlier, we're already turning the water off in most cases when the 1st of September rolls around. We do keep it on, and like our Plants Ferry Sports facility and others where there's active games being played, but probably 80% of the park system goes down at that time. So we use these, the extra help employees are used to help with some of the less skilled labor, and they help us a lot with restroom cleanings during the summer and response to vandalism. And unfortunately, even when we open the restrooms on the inside, some folks have a hard time utilizing the plumbing, and those visits, those cleanings become very important. Monitoring eyes and ears, we rely heavily on the community to help us with that. Unfortunately, this is the part we don't want to show in the video, but we do run into a lot of illegal dumping, graffiti, and vandalism. And what we have found the best remedy for trying to minimize this is a very quick response time. The quicker we can get to it and haul it away, the better our success. What we found when it takes a little bit of time, suddenly that grows. It's as if those that have enjoyed trying to utilize us as a debris dump ground, if they see it there a week later, they feel that it's not being observed, and suddenly that pile grows. And the same goes for graffiti, and with vandalism, a lot of times we just have to lock the restrooms down, and then as soon as we can get to the repair, we'll unlock and open them back up. Again, the Prairie View Park expansion, we're pretty excited about. Moving on to aquatics, this is another area where we've identified about 14,000 of our savings. The way we're looking to do this is to reduce our public swim session Monday through Friday. That's currently 6.5 hours down to a 5-hour block, targeting those most popular hours of the day. Trying to be creative. We're also looking to increase our swim lesson prices, a nominal amount from $35 up to $40 to try and help with that. To provide an idea of comparable facilities in our area, in our community, we're at a 64-day season. That's a change we made a few years back relative to minimum wage increases that have had a substantial impact on our operations, certainly leaning so heavily on extra help. But we feel that we are targeting that prime season in that 64-day window that we're working with. And a few of the other jurisdictions tend to hold one pool or facility open a little bit longer. We're able to maximize our cost recovery by having a shorter prime window. So I think this may be my last slide for aquatics. Again, this provides an idea. In terms of cost recovery, we are working very hard to do that. Our user fee or entry fees are slightly higher than a few others in our area, but we really feel that we provide a premium product for that. We are not looking at an increase for 18. These are 17 prices in consulting with other jurisdictions. We're not anticipating that they will increase theirs. We experimented years ago with a $6 entry fee, and that was not very helpful for us. So by remaining competitive, we feel that we can improve and serve a larger number of individuals. And again, with the swim lessons bumping up to $40, we still will be right in the middle between some of the other options in town. So moving on to the last major component of our budget savings, nearly $100,000. We are estimating through eliminating a management position and a few other adjustments. So this is a reorg, if you will, the simplified org chart on the left, trying to identify those positions that are part of this. You can see we have a vacant park operations manager position. The assistant director is overseeing our operations division right now, and as we look at the cost savings, we're looking to eliminate that operations manager position that again works out of our Plants Ferry facility. And so part of that would leave some additional duties within the admin office at the fairgrounds. So we're looking to eliminate the park planning and real estate position and turn that into a special projects manager and Account Tech 3 with Account Tech 4 to reflect current and existing workload as part of that. In terms of service impact, again, I had mentioned the focus on the grounds, on the parks themselves. One of the challenges we have with so many acres is people getting hurt. So when something happens, or meaning if there's a break in stairs or a stair railing, it's very important that we try to be timely in repairing that. We want to avoid any unnecessary injuries or accidents on our facilities by caring for them. So the emphasis, again, you can see here, is to focus on park operations. So we're looking to take the primary hit within the admin. From a service impact standpoint, this position has invested a lot of time in pursuing grants, and we're estimating a financial impact here in terms of reduced capacity to pursue these grants and obtain the grants. And so the next slide, this is an actual list of grants going back over the last 4 years. The asterisks are those that are currently identified for funding in the capital budget that we're hopeful will be signed any day now. But again, these are real numbers, real dollars in terms of that estimate, and it's just capacity. There's only so much staff time. We are anticipating with that amount that we may have to pass over some of the lower dollar grants and focus more on the large dollar grants to have the most bang for the buck, if you will. Okay. And as far as timing, there's the majority of our grants have been through the Recreation and Conservation Office, and they work through 2-year cycles. It just so happens we are preparing to start the next 2-year cycle in 18. So had that been delayed till 19, there would have been some opportunity, to delay that. But as far as impact, again, that capacity would be immediate next year, and we would certainly impact the number of grants we would anticipate being able to pursue just with the resources that we have. We'd want to make sure that we're able to follow through with what we're doing. So here's just an example of one of our more recent grants with Prairie View Park. You can see a fairly recent photo